What's good, YouTube?
So,
All right, let's get it going. What is going on, world? It's your boy Marcus Voltaire, joined with my co-host, my man David,
what's up?
with my other co-host, Mr. Joseph Meeks,
What's up?
Hey, weeks, 2 weeks.
and none other than the preacher himself, Joshua Opar, man.
What it do?
Hey, how y'all feeling today?
Good.
hot.
It's cold.
Hot and cold?
It's hot and
It's
cold.
another
It's
day
icy
to be
hot day.
alive, you know.
I see, that's what it is.
Bless.
Yeah.
That's good, that's good. So, you know, we already had our first episode last week. Josh, you missed it, sadly, because this man didn't want to leave the house because of snow.
Hey, I don't blame you, bro.
It's no,
I don't blame you.
I got a wife to take care of.
He said
cold,
something, bro. His excuse was something came up. I was like,
Hey,
You
man.
saw what came up eventually.
true.
I don't
So-
blame you.
You couldn't leave that at the house. I ain't gonna say nothing, but you know.
Man.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know. If you in the know, then you know.
That was a tough situation.
All right. To start off this podcast, man, I just want to share with you guys what I experienced over, actually yesterday. I told some of y'all, but I walked into the rec, as you guys know. I'm about to graduate in May, and I went to go. Yeah, you know, appreciate you. You know, class of 2019 or 2020, my 2020. But
It was smooth 18 days ago.
Yeah.
hey,
I know, right?
I'm still adjusting.
No,
But
that's-
but yeah, I walked into the rec. I went to go hoop, right? And tell me how you guys feel and what you guys would have done. I walk into the rec and I'm gonna head to the middle court because, as you know, the middle court is for the good people.
It's for the people who want to make it to the league, but you know, sadly.
The ones who didn't make it.
Yeah, the ones that want to though. But
Hey man, get off the middle court, bro.
I'm just telling the truth, man.
See, that's that left court talk.
They be hooping like that's their job, man.
Hey,
Hey, nah,
get
I
out
play-
the
I
middle
play on all
court.
courts, so that's all I got to say.
So I walk in and then I see a game 5-on-5, normal, and as soon as somebody gets fouled, they shooting free throws. Like, how would you guys react to that?
I've been like, what are y'all doing, bro? Like, it's not organized.
If they were sorry, I would have ran with them, because I would have just, you know, drove into the lane and quit.
Question got to be, what were they racist?
What?
That's the really important question.
What do you mean?
He's asking were they black.
It doesn't matter what color they were.
So they
you
weren't.
big well.
So they weren't. is what
Some
I'm
of them
hearing.
were black, but then others, you know, University of North Texas is a very diverse school, so like it was mixed.
I'm saying you get people from different cultures.
I would say,
Here's
I
the
would-
problem.
I would
Here's what
say
I would
it's
say.
either Tam's kids,
Exactly.
or freshmen.
So it could be like different cultures.
wasn't-
They don't know about
Yeah.
the red culture.
Well,
Yeah.
one, it wasn't Tams because, as you guys know, Tams has a curfew at 10.
They do have a curfew.
Yeah, so
Oh, so you went late.
And
Yeah, I
sometimes
went
kids
later.
are cold, like you know,
Yeah,
they get
some
that pick
do.
and roll, and yeah,
Some
that's all
do.
they do.
I mean, from
Those
my
other ones, like,
from my visual assessment,
Uh-huh.
they didn't look like they belonged on the middle court.
What is it with this middle court? It's the same court.
It's
Middle court is
No, the middle court.
No, the middle court is different. The middle
Yeah.
court is for those who have honed their skills.
Man,
No,
No,
that's
the
the-
coordinated.
well, actually,
the-
that's not true
the
because I
high-
play on the
listen,
middle court. and I'm
okay.
not cold.
Listen.
Well, you get lucky. I'm just kidding.
Listen. You can hoop on any court. It's just, let's say, like, if everybody is hooping that day,
Mhm.
you kind of know the people that really hoop, they be on the middle court. But if it's open, just hoop. It don't matter what court you on.
But like, for the side courts, even they don't do free throws though.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I've
Still.
never
That's
seen
why I
that.
asked, were they
This
racist?
is
Because
first.
it could be some people who just, they're not you. I think
You know the
record
record was dead that day because
Yeah.
if real hoopers were there, they'd be like, "What are y'all doing?"
I was very surprised to see them shooting free throws. So like their race, regardless of their race, I was just very
They
surprised.
could be a basketball team
No,
playing against each other.
no.
Nah.
Yeah, don't they?
I don't know.
Intramurals?
Maybe.
Playing
Yesterday
against each
was
other.
Friday. They could have came in,
Exactly.
try to get some runs in.
Well,
That's like
Practices.
I felt like I let the rec down. I didn't set the
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 bar.
environment, and now they
You
think that
just
it's
took them off. No,
Exactly. True point.
Yeah, you know. I feel like I didn't set that bar,
True.
so they didn't respect
True.
the middle court
The
rituals.
unwritten.
Yeah, the
law.
unwritten doctrine of the middle
That
court.
is, that's unspoken.
Yeah.
But like, you're telling me 10 people showed up to the rec, didn't know that, and then even because there's always like a worker there who
The worker was watching.
Yeah, like
I'm
you're
like,
telling me 11
But,
people.
I mean, they don't never. All they do is watch.
Exactly.
Like even if you fall, hurt yourself, they just be like,
That's
just sit
true.
there and wait for a second.
True.
They'll wait
They
for
probably
you
use
to ask
mics.
if you
That's
need
it.
some help.
But I mean, is it their duty to make sure? I mean,
No, it's
they
not
get
their
paid
job.
to just
Supervise.
watch and supervise.
You
Yeah.
get
That's what I
paid to
would
make
do.
sure nobody's doing nothing illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I would
What
do.
can they
Just be
do?
like, oh, they.
Because or like fights, I'm saying like
Yeah.
because I could be running around being just obnoxious and stuff. They're not gonna do nothing. I could just be screaming in everybody's ears and stuff. But if somebody punches me, that's when they'll be like,
I don't think
hey.
they let you play music at the wedding.
You know, they tried to tell me yesterday morning. I brought my speaker while I was doing my drills, and then someone walked by. It was like barely 7,
Wow.
and then someone walked by like, you're not supposed to do that, right? I was like,
Was it a worker?
yeah, worker. I said it's not hurting anybody, and she's like, well, it doesn't matter if it's not hurting anybody. It's the rules. And I had to sit there and think. I was like, well,
I don't like when rules aren't posted.
not even that. It's just like, if no one else can hear the music but me, why should I have to turn my music off?
You had to come
Still,
to me.
still gotta adhere
Yeah.
to the rule. God. Still have to.
It's
I
kind
mean,
of like, a
rules.
speed limit, you know. Like if you're going like 100 miles and there's nobody on the road, and the cop pull you over,
No, what
That's
makes
a
you
little extreme,
mad?
man.
and you're like, well, nobody else on the road.
I guess, but
I
still,
don't see no
it's
kids
music.
around, but it's
But,
a speed
but
bump.
if you're speeding, you have a potential to harm yourself or others. But with playing music at a volume that you can
But it
only
was their
hear.
rule, just like because like in my estimation, I don't think I would harm myself going 90 miles per hour on the highway, especially if there's nobody
You're a
there.
professional driver.
Yeah,
No,
but
just 90 miles per hour ain't that fast.
yeah,
That's
that's
pushing
pushing
it.
it.
That's a
No,
little
that's
fast.
not that
That's
fast.
pushing it with
What
any
cheese-
car,
No,
bro.
bro. What's fast is like when people, because I
Any
think
car below 20
no, I've been
feet, start
going.
shaking.
Bro, I was just about to say.
Nah,
like, I got a
yeah,
small
the
car,
wheel-
I be going
it's like
fast.
going
My car be going like this.
Nah, see that's whenever you start pushing 100. But like I've been going 90 before, and I see somebody just go right by me. I'm like, I'm
You
sorry.
must
I
have
was
been
going
on their
fast
way to
enough.
Houston or
I'm saying,
something.
you're going from being on.
They
on
speed.
90
like,
Y'all
on
should be
that.
ready to race. That's what
I'm not ready to race. It's just like I was going with the flow of traffic. Everybody was going fast, but like they were in my way, so I had to like get past them. So I had to go 90 to do that because they were going like 80, but that's like slow.
90 is fast.
Well,
That's not
I
a speed
mean,
limit of 90. That's how it
Yeah,
goes fast.
exactly,
I ain't
right?
seen a 90 speed limit
Yeah.
yet.
He kept off at
and that brings up
75.
a good point too. If nobody is there to watch, or if nobody's in the presence, are you still accountable for what you're supposed
Just
to
deal
like?
with these transitions.
I know,
Hey,
right?
Flowing
It's
is
like-
like a
man.
segue.
Kicking like
man.
Sean Payton with this game or something, bro. It's crazy.
But
Kicking
that's a real
segue.
question though. Like, if no one is around,
Uh-huh.
are you still accountable for things that you should be doing or you ought to be doing? You know?
Yes, because whenever nobody's around, and then that cop does come out of nowhere because they be hyped. Then you have to be accountable of your actions because you knew better, but you felt because I don't think anybody's watching, I can get away with it.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like how they tell you, are you still going to be doing this if nobody's around?
Mhm.
I don't know the exact words, I can't think of it right now, but it's
Right.
like, yeah, you can put on a front, pretty
Mhm.
much, be like, oh, this is how I am to everybody when everybody's looking, but as soon as nobody's around and you're by yourself, then you're going to be who you really are. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So, bringing it to the faith aspect, I know some people who, they'll praise God, you'll see them as, Christian, but, behind closed doors, they act a different way, or they switch to a different environment. And it's not like they're condemning other people. It's just that whenever they're in certain environments, they act a certain way. Like if they're around Christians, they're gonna act as Christian. But then if they're around their homegirls or their homeboys, then they're acting a whole different way. So how do you guys see that as detrimental, or if you see it as detrimental at all, when it comes to faith?
We'll let the pastor do it.
You know,
You
pastor.
start
That's
off.
what-
You
That's
start
how
down
we-
the
that's how we
road.
roll.
How would you see? How would you see that? You know, affect the person?
Affect the person or the people around them.
Both. Yes. How about that?
Yes.
I think there's a big struggle with impersonation going on, and people want to impress others. When they want to impress others, then they try to impersonate somebody that they think would be impressive to who they're trying to impress.
Mm.
And typically, if I go around Christians, I feel like Christians will be impressed by another Christian, even if I'm not. So I now impersonate a Christian to impress the Christians. And if I go around people who party, who go to clubs, I feel like they'll be impressed if I was the person who was lit. So
Mhm.
now I impersonate whoever's gonna be lit to impress them. So we have this false identity with people who inside honestly are only just seeking acceptance. And I think that's really what the hardcore truth of it is.
Mhm.
So how that affects them in the faith is when you're done impressing all these people in different areas of their life, you don't know who you are no more. So now when you go home, you start asking questions like, who am I? Because at 9 o'clock, I was a Christian. At 10, I was a partier. At 11, I was a sex addict. At 12, I was this person. At 1, I was this person. Who am I now that I'm at home? I don't know. So that's where depression comes. That's how it affects them. Anxiety comes. Thoughts of suicide come because you don't have no value, because you don't feel valuable, because you feel like everybody just wants something from you. But the real truth of the matter is, it's really you that put them in that position. So that all ties back even into being accountable. And when I get home and I find out who that me is, accountability for me is being that me regardless of what group I'm in. Being central about who I am. So that way, if somebody from the Christian group sees me with the party group, then I'm gonna be like, oh my God, they should be able to tell, oh, that's him, that's him, that's him. So that way I can be around different groups of people. But if I'm individually me, that's me being accountable. And that also can help affect others because it also makes me identify. Where they can say, okay, we know this is Marcus no matter what. I know Marcus. Marcus be at the club. I know it's Marcus. I know it's David. I know it's Joseph. I know him wherever they are. This is Marcus. But that's kind of how it is.
Something I wanted to mention was just being like careful, because the first question that you posed was like with how people act behind closed doors. And something I just wanted to mention is like there's a difference between struggling with sin and indulging in it. So for somebody who's, Christian, they do all these things, like they're in all the ministries, go to church, go to Bible study and stuff, but behind closed doors they're sinning. I mean, we're all sinners and we all struggle with sin, but there's a difference whenever you purposely indulge in it, like you were saying, like, you can go out to church, but then later that day you'll go to a party too, like, an identity crisis type of thing. And you hit it on the nose, just like not being comfortable in their skin is how I see it. Just, the way that, because I feel like that's something that develops like in high school, just that feeling of wanting to be accepted. And eventually, in college, it either gets worse and that can lead to depression, or you finally get to a position where, what happened for me, I had to realize that I want to live my life the way I want to live it.
Mhm.
And I have to be unapologetic about that. I can't, because I'm going to drive myself crazy trying to please everybody, trying to be accepted in every type of group. I've got to figure out what things that I like to do. And it took some time of isolation to figure out what I like, what I want to do, and who I want to associate with. And then I just go out and do it. But if you don't give yourself that time to, reflect, then you'll just find yourself stretching yourself thin, going to each and everything, trying to affiliate yourself with everybody when you don't know yourself.
Yeah.
You want me to say something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it kind of like piggyback off what they said. It's kind of like not knowing who you are, because if you don't know who you are, you'll easily, or you can be quickly molded into anybody, right? Like Josh said, you're somebody at this time and then you're a different person at this time, and that's dangerous because people could take advantage of you. Two, like you don't know what you stand for. 3, it's like yeah, it's that identity crisis. It's like, yo, like, what do I like to do? I like to do this, I like to do this, but, you know, there's not one thing that people can, like, you know, look at me, yeah, and be like, okay, yo, that's David, that's Marcus, that's Joseph, that's Josh. You know what I mean? There's nothing that, like, distinguishes you, like, among anybody else. So, yeah, like, you gotta be accountable to yourself, because you gotta, one, know who you are in Christ. Because when you're like grounded in that, it's not, you know, you won't be shaken. It's hard for you to be shaken. And no matter where you are, like Josh said, no matter where you are, you know, you're always gonna be you, no matter what. So
Yeah. So you guys all made like great points, you know. So like speaking from the person who's saying, oh, you know, I've been accountable for who I am. I know what I like. But what if once they know themselves, everybody who's around them, you know, their friends who go to parties, or their friends who go work out, their friends who go to church, they don't have nothing really in common with those people around them. Which, you know, as you said before, whenever you don't know your identity, that can cause depression because you don't know who you are and stuff. But what if they do know, and then that in turn, you know, causes depression because they just don't see where they should be. You know, they're trying to accept who they are, but it's hard to accept who you are when, you know, nobody accepts you, if that makes sense. So what would you say to that person?
It's very important to understand that humans are the best resources. When you know that humans are the best resources, we understand that we need humans. Even God himself needs humans.
True.
To
He had
fulfill
12.
God's work. And the truth of the matter is, when we know that humans are our biggest resources, then the biggest question now has to be, as a Christian, how do I have these resources even though they don't align with my values? There are a lot of resources that we can use that don't align with our values. But how can I associate myself with these people even though my values are different than? Well, let's ask Jesus. Jesus hung around with the sinners. He was with the publicans, the tax collectors, the people whose society at that time would have called not identifiable with Christianity, the ones who people would have called unbelievers of those times. He hanged out with them, and whenever he hangs out with them, something changed about them, but nothing changed about him.
Oh, that was good.
So he hanged out with people who did not see what he saw, but when they had an encounter with him, their perspective changed. So the big question now has to be, how do I be able to be with you and influence you and you not influence me? Because we had this quote, birds of the feathers, you know, they flock together and whatever the case may be, by their fruit you shall know. We get that, but we need humans. I cannot only work with saved believers, because God can use an unbeliever to bless me. I may need to hire an atheist to work on my social media because he's a beast in social media. I need that human resources.
Right.
But the problem now being when you understand who you are and you understand that one, human beings, no matter at what level of intellect you have, you're not capable of changing anybody. We don't have the power. Just like nobody can change you. Only God can. So now when you're dealing with the faith, it's now trusting the God in you to change them. How does that happen? By letting God use you in those situations. For example, Jonah. Jonah was on his way running away from God. He wasn't for the preach. He wasn't getting to preach. He was running away from actually preaching. But in that very moment, he still was true to himself. He still said, I believe in the God of Israel. I believe in who God is. He didn't say, I'm not a believer. By him preaching and saying he believed in God, the people who were there actually got transformed. The people on the boat, their life they became believers. Even though this man was in the midst of sinning against God and hanging out with people whose values were not like his values. Yet he was still true to himself. True, and he used that as an opportunity to be able to preach about who God is. I think there are times where you may be able to hang out for that person. Even for myself, I can be able to hang out with, say somebody, I've hanged out with God who is pure atheist. And sometimes we just have to talk about football and talk about everything else that didn't matter. By me showing him love, I sat down, me, Derek. We sat down with this guy who was an atheist, and he was an atheist, and he was Jewish. It was so weird.
Wait,
Yeah, it
You
was,
told me.
yeah.
It was
atheist
at,
and Jewish?
Like he didn't believe in God, but he was Jewish by identity. Like you could be black, but kind of be like, I don't like black people. That make sense?
Yeah.
Like he was Jewish because his family was Jewish, so by
But he
identity,
didn't
but he didn't
associate
really,
with them.
yeah, he didn't associate with them. And we sat down and he was like gay and everything. And me, him, and Derek sat down. Actually, I was talking to Derek. He just barged in and sat down.
yeah.
And while we were talking, it was cold. It was so awkward. I'm like, dude, what the heck? Like, why are you not conversation? But I just kept on talking. Just kept showing love and allowing God to speak through me.
Right.
When everything was done, he gave his life to Christ. And he was like, man, and I asked the question, what changed? Because I know it wasn't me that changed you through a conversation. No. It was that love of Christ that was shown through me. That same grace that God gave me allowed me to be able to hang out with them and influence them to want to be like me. But really it wasn't me. To want to be like, oh, it's Christ. And I think if anybody is never in a position where they have to question, man, what do I do if somebody's attacking me and they don't like me and all my people who God has put in my life? If God put them in my life, they don't associate themselves with me. What do I need to do? And the question now needs to be, are you actually letting that light of Christ shine through you? Because when you let that light of Christ shine through you, no matter how long it takes, it may take a week, it may take a day, it may take a year, it may take 10 years, eventually that light will outshine the darkness. And that goes back to consistency and integrity and really being accountable to yourself. So,
Wow. I hope all of y'all caught that. Like, if you did not take notes, you played yourself.
Just go
Because that
rewind
was-
it, 'cause-
Yeah, just rewind this and just take notes because that was a big key to one, finding identity, one, finding acceptance, one, finding, like, being consistent, like, that, all of that was just, that was fire. So going towards the fitness route, being accountable is like, basically, for me, being accountable is like staying to a certain regimen, eating the right stuff no matter what, because you have this goal set, so you're going to be accountable. You're going to treat yourself as if you were training somebody else. So what are some accountability habits that you guys do whenever it comes to health and fitness? What are some of you guys' traits?
I think a really good way, whenever you're trying to accomplish something, is to make a goal because it's kind of I wouldn't say it's useless, but it's just kind of silly to want to do things without a goal. Like what are you trying to gain out of it? That's something that you have to think about first. So let's say that I'm trying to gain a certain amount of weight. So I need to figure that out, or at least figure out a range so I know what I'm aiming for. And then on the way, take pictures or just see progress of that because not only does that let me know where I am in that journey, but also it's like I know it's kind of like an encouraging type of thing. Okay, I'm getting closer. I'm this far away now. I'm halfway there. I'm almost there. I just got to keep pushing. So it's a way to keep yourself accountable, always checking that goal and checking your progress. But if you're just I want to gain some weight, and you just go to the gym every now and then, you eat every now and then, you're not really being intentional with it. Whenever you really want to accomplish something, like with a business, they lay out a whole entire plan. They have proposals and they get a timeline of when they want things to be done, and then they check that timeline every now and then because they need to know what to do next, and they need to know what they've already done and see how successful they've been to get that goal accomplished. So it's just mapping out your journey is a way to keep yourself accountable.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna piggyback off what he said. So, like when I got out of high school, my goal was to hit 200 pounds, right?
Right.
200 pounds. So when I got out of high school, I was like 175. So I had 25 pounds to gain, right? And the way, because sometimes people try to lose weight or add weight in like massive chunks. Can't do that. That's hard, right?
Yeah,
so the way I do it is like Joseph said, you gotta map it out. Let's say I give myself 5 months to get to that 200 pounds. So that's 5 pounds a month. Break it down even smaller. That's 1 pound a week, pretty much,
Right.
that I need to gain, right? So if you break it down into smaller chunks, it's easier to get to your goal because, like, I can't say I'm trying to lose 20 pounds in 3 weeks. Like, that's a lot, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody has all that time to eat or not eat or whatever, you know, because you got school, you got work, whatever you got going on in your life.
Right.
So, you know, we have 24 hours a day, but we don't use all 24. We're asleep. You know, recommended 8.
Eight.
Recommended 8. You know, now you got 16, and you got classes that'll take up, let's say, 4 or 5 hours, and now, you know, that time dwindles down considerably. So break your goal up into smaller chunks, so that way you can get to where you want to go. And, I mean, that's how I do it. That's one, is less stress on you. 2, you're more organized, and then you kind of got a plan on how you're gonna tackle things.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I liked how you said that because, like, if I said, okay, I want to gain 50 pounds by the end of the year, just looking at 50 pounds, that's a lot.
That's
Like,
a lot,
that's
yeah.
overwhelming. But whenever you break it down, 1 pound a week, okay, that's
Yeah,
like, you know, it just,
Mhm.
it's simpler to wrap my head around. And also, being realistic with it, you do want to challenge yourself, but also a lot of times people get so excited that they make these unrealistic goals, and then whenever they actually start going towards it, like, I can't do this, and they just give up on it. So, like, knowing, you know, okay, what's my capability? What do I know in the bottom of my heart? What's my capability? And then adding just a little bit of it. So, like, let's say I know I can get an 80, you know, a B in this class. I'm gonna shoot for, like, you know, instead of 80, I'm gonna shoot for 85. But I'm not saying, oh, you know, I know I can get 80, but I'm gonna shoot for 100. You know, I'm gonna go completely past all expectations, and, you know, like, shooting too high can be to your detriment whenever you.
I don't know about that. I feel like you should shoot like super high, and even if you fail or even if you come up short, like let's say you're trying to reach, you know, Saturn. You know, you're reaching for Saturn. You fall short, but you still get, you know, to Jupiter.
But also,
You know what I'm saying? So you're still going to be making your progress. You still got way further than what you intended. But I feel like if you put like a cap on something, like, oh, I'm gonna do this, you know, and you reach that cap, I feel like a lot of people get complacent. So I feel like it's better off to shoot high and have a potential to fall a little bit short, but you're still, you know, surpassing
But-
what you should have
But
done.
that depends on, like, your maturity level on whatever you're doing. Because if you're more mature in, let's say, fitness, right?
Mhm.
You're more inclined to shoot higher because you already know what you're capable of.
Mhm.
But if you're starting off and you shoot really high, but you don't have any basis on anything, you know, you just starting off your fitness journey, and, like, if you fail, you're gonna be discouraged. You know what I mean? So that's why you should temper your expectations little by little. And then once you just say, you know, I lost or I gained 5 pounds in a month, right?
Mhm.
So, okay, that's good, right? You know, I got a little bigger in a month. Now, using what you did in that month, you could either change some things, or you could try to just stay consistent. Stay consistent with it, and once you, like, kind of plateau, because that's where people fall. That's where
Yeah.
people, like, usually, you know, end up, let's say, failing, because they hit that plateau, and it's like they don't see any more gaining of weight or losing of weight. So then they get discouraged, and then their consistency drops. You know, once you hit that plateau, then, I mean, because that's our bodies, you know, our bodies adapt to things after like a week and a half is used to a certain workout. So, you know, then you got to switch things up,
Mhm.
and that plays into consistency, because there's gonna be times where you don't want to work out. You know, your body is like, yo, I already know this workout. It's nothing, right?
Mhm.
You might feel like you're working, but it's not really doing anything. So that's why you gotta switch it up. You gotta be ready for that. You gotta switch it up at all times, so that way you can continue to climb and climb and climb, or drop and drop and drop. You know what I mean? So
And the thing that I was like, I want, whatever I think of it, like, you know, being cautious, just because if you shoot too high, you could lose your mind going, you know, towards that really high goal, and then end up not even reaching where you really knew you could have gone to in the first place, is what I was like, that's the way that I was thinking about it. you know, doing all this, like, okay, you know, I got to get this, and then eventually you just get so burned out that you can't even finish through in the first place, and you just end up not finishing it all.
Exactly.
But
Then
that-
you wasting your time.
But then that ties into like accountability. You know, if you're setting these goals, no matter if they're high or low, you should stick to that goal. And you have to understand that, you know, if you're going to be putting 10 hours into your 17-hour day, and you're going to dedicate those 10 hours to working out or to fitness, then you should know that there's going to come a point in time where you're not going to want to continue, because 10 hours every day, regardless of what you're doing, 10 hours of anything is going to get exhausting. So you have to, you know, be accountable and say, you know, even though I'm going to be exhausted, even though it's going to be hard, I'm still going to continue. Now, I'm not saying kill yourself, but, you know, you should know, okay, if I get to this point, then I'm going to be doing this. Or if I get to this point, I'm going to be doing that. You know what I mean?
That just sounds like, and that 10 hours, that just kind of hit me like that's a lot. But
Yeah.
the way that I'm like seeing this is with that. So like, let's say that, like, you know, with the weight example David was saying, so I know what I need to hit and stuff. Let's say I did get that 5 pounds in that 1 month, but like that was like, it took so much out of me. Like, you know, other things in my life started falling off and stuff too, and like I just did you know the bare minimum of what I needed to do. I need to do for 4 more months. Like,
Right.
how am I gonna keep that consistent while also keeping the other things in my life, you know, where they need to be at the same time? And that's just like, you know, a difficult thing. And I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing to shoot like a really high goal and have to like bring it down. What I like to do is have a goal that does challenge myself, and then whenever I get closer to it, if I like know like, okay, I'm about to bust this goal, let me set it higher. The more I get closer to it, because I don't want it to be complacent goal. Like, I'm gonna shoot for this, and I end up getting to it like, you know, half the time that I thought. You know, I just keep like pushing it up the closer I get to it, because I don't want it to, you know, be where I just go, okay, you know, I can be stagnant with it.
I think one of the biggest in line that everybody is saying is kind of like, how do you measure success? You know, I think that's one of the biggest questions that I think anybody should know to ask themselves. What makes you successful in your way, in your business, in your life? How do you measure that? 80% of the population don't know that answer. Some people think it's more money. More money is not success. Some people think it's more of this, more of that. So the big question is, how do I measure that? How do I know that I'm successful in my way? One of the best ways to measure success is having measurable goals. Now, there is such a thing as goals within a goal, such as what David said. And I'm trying to make 25 pounds, so that's my goal. But I got to make 1 pound this week. How am I going to measure that I'm making 25 pounds in 5 months? It's by me knowing that I hit 1 pound this week. If I don't hit 1 pound this week, I don't think I'm headed to where I'm trying to go. This is how I measure my success. My goal entirely is to hit 25 pounds. But I'm measuring my success by 1 pound a week. So now, in the big goal, you may say, well, David is successful, he still looks small. While David is like, man, I'm really successful, trust me, man. Because I've done for the past 5 weeks, I always hit 1 pound, I hit my pound.
Yeah.
So now when you measure success like that, it's easier. In my life, in my way, I've always had to measure success because I don't like to make goals for a week or a month or a year or 2 or 5. I got goals that I've set for myself 5 years from now, saying when I get to 25, when I get to 30, when I get to 35, I want this to happen. So for everybody else, they can look and say, oh, he's doing this. While I can be like, man, I ain't successful yet. And somebody else can be like, oh man, he ain't doing what he needs to do. And I'm like, wait, and I'm, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for me, for example, one of my shortest small goals, I was like, well, I told my wife last year, 2 years ago, really. I was like, hey, I want to get a book by 2017, and I want another book by 2019. And I said, I need the book by 2020. I said, I have all of this, but really, that's not really my goal. The real goal is I want to publish 20 books by this age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the only way I can know that I'm doing that
Is
is if I'm hitting my little pointers.
Mm.
So having measurable goals that are measurable, it gives you satisfaction, because if I said I just want to shoot 400 books, then I can even get 80 and still don't feel successful. Because when you shoot for sky high, you don't have no foundation. But those measurable goals are steps to success. Those are steps.
And they keep you accountable.
They keep you
It's
accountable.
like,
'Cause
okay,
I hit it last
I hit
week.
it last week. I hit
Right.
it this week.
Yep.
I'm gonna hit it next week.
Yep.
And the week after that.
Yep.
So
And
now,
also, whenever
yeah,
you
the-
don't hit it, then you're like, all right, so I got to do double this week,
Yeah. the-
just to get back on pace, or I can split that up into like fourths, you know, whatever.
Mhm,
Like,
yeah.
It's very, very important to look at it like that. Now, don't get me wrong. We're all saying the same thing.
Mhm.
It is true to shoot high, because sometimes we shoot low because we're scared.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good to shoot high, but I believe sternly in having measurable goals. What am I trying to attain, and how do I know that I'm doing good?
Right.
It's like a relationship. You can be like, man, I love her to death. How you know?
Because she maxed out my cards every week.
How you know?
Last week she
how you know
spent
you're a good
$5.
man? You feel me? How do you know you're a good man?
Yeah.
How do you know? You think you're a good man, but how do you know you're a good man? How do you measure that? How does she know that she's good? How do you think your girl is a good girl?
Mm.
How do you measure that? How do you know that you're fit? Is it because you can run a mile? What about somebody who's running marathons and you can't? And they come to you and say, well, I'm successful. I did 25 miles. And you can't do 25 miles.
Mm.
So how do you claim to be fit? How do you say you've honed in on your basketball skills when there's somebody in the NBA who can tear you up?
Big facts.
But you say you've honed in on your skills. So how do I call your basketball players? If I get Chris Paul or John Wall or Steph Curry, how can I really not call you a shooter?
Well, everybody's accountability is different. You know what
Because
I'm
you
saying?
have your own goal.
Exactly.
That's what I said.
So I can't
Feels
shoot
like
to be
maturity,
Steph Curry.
yeah.
I gotta, you know what I'm saying? So I
Depends on
think,
your maturity,
Yeah.
whatever you do in your
Yeah.
respective field.
Yeah.
And
If
that
you're,
was-
you're beginner or you're expert. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we all got little goals.
what you said about if all you said was I want to write 100 books by this and you only hit 80, you're like, dang, I don't feel successful,
Yeah.
because like you didn't make stepping stones on the way, so like 80 isn't 100.
Yeah, but 80 is
It's
great.
great.
Yeah,
But you can't tell,
But like if all you said was 100, then
Yeah.
80 ain't 100, so I ain't
Yeah.
successful.
they never be happy.
Yeah. But whenever you say I want this book by this year and this, and be like, dang, you know, I've hit 80 steps so far. I only got 20 left.
I gotta keep going. Like with your business, you say, okay, you know what? I want to make this Voltaire. I want to be Marcus, the serial entrepreneur. I want to make this. I want to do that. And you don't tell yourself, okay, this is where I see myself being. By 2020, I want to get a podcast. By 2021, I need this. All of those stuff are pointing in the right direction. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Mhm.
But if you say, I'm trying to be this big man, and you just messed around and popped up with a podcast,
Mhm.
and you only got 5 listeners, you're gonna feel like a failure. You're gonna be like, man, I don't know if I'm heading in the right direction. I don't even think if God called me to do this. I don't. But you say that because you never measured it.
Mhm.
With basketball, it's like somebody saying, I want to be able to shoot and get better by 3-point shooting. How do you know you got better at 3-point shooting?
You take percentages.
Yeah, you do that. Keep on shooting and measure it.
What
I
you
shot
gotta do
100
is-
today and I
you
made
need to
60.
before-
Yeah.
You need to
Tomorrow I
before
shot
and after.
100 and I made 70.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I shot 100 and I made 80. Oh shoot, I'm getting better.
Yeah, you need a before and after for sure.
So
Because
I
like,
think that's good.
how you know if you're getting better if you're not measuring what you're at right now? Like, where are you right now? Because if you're just putting up shots like, I feel like I'm better, and then one day, I didn't make as many as I thought I should. Like, you're not even counting it. You're just shooting.
Mhm.
So it's not really like, you gotta put some type of measurement on it, or you're just shooting. Literally.
Yeah. You gotta be patient.
Oh.
'Cause, you know,
Patience
some
is
days,
a big key.
Yeah, you gotta be hella patient, man. 'Cause some days, let's say I did, let's say I'm on the bench press, right?
Mhm.
I'm hitting 225. Last week I hit 10 reps, right? So my thinking now is, okay, I hit 10. I've been working out for 2 weeks. And now I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna try to hit 12 or 13, but I only hit 10, 11. It's like, okay, dang, I need to get stronger in those 2
Yeah,
weeks. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, you know, what's going on? You know, you might get discouraged like that, but you gotta be patient because sometimes you won't get what you want to get at that certain time. You know what I mean? It can just be like a little
And
roadblock.
even with that though, to be honest with you, even with that, that's why measuring success is so important because say you like, dang, I hit 10 again.
Exactly.
You
At
can be
least
so
you didn't go
focused on
under
your
10.
failure
You forgot, yeah.
that you forget one, you still did 10, but two, you didn't even count. How long did it take me this time?
Exactly.
How did I feel after I did the 10?
It was
you
like,
know?
Yeah, 'cause the first
did I
time-
do it in 5 minutes
Yeah.
or did I do it in 10 minutes like I did last time?
Yeah.
I still did 10. But
Mhm.
my last 10 was, and this time I was like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
11.
I can't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
But you did it smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
So,
yeah.
major success is key to that.
And the patience, oh my goodness, with the fitness, because like y'all were saying earlier, I don't think people realize, like, you know, whenever they're trying to lose or gain weight, like, it's going to take a while for you to see it. Because the 1 pound a week, if you're losing or gaining 1 pound a week, you're not going to see that, not after a month, maybe after 2 months. Like, if I added 5 pounds right now, y'all wouldn't be able to, like, tell. But it's
5
after.
pounds would be a little visible, but 1 pound I don't think will be.
Yeah.
Because 1 pound is like, you could literally,
You cannot
that's
drink
1
water.
pound, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You cannot drink water and that's 1 pound.
Exactly, like that's something that's like, you know, sometimes it's gonna be difficult to see it. That's why it's so important, like, you know, okay, how can I see it on the journey? And, you know, measuring, okay, I just want to see that I'm making 1 pound a day.
But yeah, I think sometimes people try to either gain or lose weight too quick.
Mhm.
Let's say, like I said, 25 earlier, you know what I mean?
Right.
In a short amount of time. People don't realize 25 pounds is a lot. You
And
don't
your
look
bo-
like
And your
like
body
a
has to
quarter
get
of
used to
yourself.
it too. Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna lose that much weight, like your body's gonna have to do things that it's not used to, and you're gonna have to adjust
Your body's gonna
to
fight
that.
you.
Yeah, your
To
body's
the-
literally
to the
gonna fight
end.
you. Your body's gonna be like, hey,
'Cause-
relax, man. I'm not trying to do all this. This
Exactly.
is a foreign, you know,
I ain't used to
land.
this is new.
yeah.
let's say you were, you know, you're like a fast guy or whatever, you can jump really high. You put on 10, 15, 20 pounds, you're not gonna jump as high. You probably won't run as fast.
Tell that to Zion.
Man. But he's a different class.
Hey, man.
he's a different class.
Just when he
That's,
was big though.
that's
But he put
dangerous.
on, like-
That's dangerous.
Like if you see his pictures, like he's cut up. He's a little more cut up. He doesn't look like a ball anymore, you know. So he looked cut up.
And sometimes we see it outside, but we don't know how many squats this dude do every time behind closed doors.
Yeah.
How often he tries and works on his jumps, his dunks. I found out that what's his name, Kobe was taking what, like 500 shots before a
Before,
game?
Yeah.
Not practice.
Uh,
Before the
you know,
game.
he would come like hours before
Yeah.
everybody else came in. Like,
Hey,
I'm
come
talking
on.
about like 3-4 hours.
And dude
before.
turning around doing one leg
Yeah,
shots, and we're like,
that's
oh,
it.
he just lucky. Nah.
Those
say
actually.
he take the same shot more than
Wow.
1,000 times. Because
Wow.
then once the game hit, you know, it's like it's muscle
Memory.
memory.
Yeah.
it's
Like, he just puts it up and like
automatic,
he
yeah.
doesn't have to worry
It's
about it.
automatic.
There was one time where he said he's never going to be outworked, and he said that the reason why the reason why I'm never going to be outworked is because at 3 a.m., 3 to 5, I'm in the gym. You know, then I go home, I rest, I eat. Then from 9 to 11, I'm back in the gym. Then I go home and rest. Then whenever you start working out around 3, 4, that's my third time going back to the gym. And then you're already done after your workout. Then I come back to the gym from 7 to, I'm like, yo, this man works every 2
Dedication.
hours. Like,
Dedication.
and he did that for years. And I'm like, that's a
That was his life.
crazy,
Yeah,
crazy
he's like,
amount of accountability right there. Because if you're doing that every single day, you're gonna get burned out.
Yeah.
So that means that even when he was burned out, even when he was tired, when his body ached, because I know he was lifting, you know, even whenever his family wanted to go out and go do stuff, he was dedicated to his craft, which made him the greatest basketball player to ever touch the basketball.
Who?
Yes,
Number
before
2.
LeBron James. Go ahead.
Say Kobe.
Yeah.
No, it's LeBron then Kobe.
Bro, relax, man. Relax.
I think
It's not a sports segment, so,
at some
I'm
point,
cool with saying Kobe, yo,
At
as
some
long
point,
as
we
we're
gotta-
not
we
talking
gotta
about that
be
bald-headed
honest.
dude.
you
Michael
gotta be
Jordan.
honest, at some point, you may or may not like him,
Man, you gotta stop.
but Michael Jordan is the greatest player
Nah.
as of
Yeah.
now.
Nope.
Bottom line, truth.
There was actually a segment
Did
where
I
they
see the
said,
competition he was going against?
bro, but relax. Listen.
What?
Scottie Pippen was
Larry
on his
Bird?
team.
Listen.
Like he went against Larry
Magic
Bird
Johnson.
when they were old.
Listen,
Oh,
bro.
Oh my, he still got to the finals.
Magic retired. That was Magic's like last year.
There was a segment where they said that whenever Michael Jordan played, nobody had a chance to go to the playoffs, to the finals.
That's
Because he
true.
was that good.
But whenever LeBron is playing, everybody has a chance because he's more of a facilitator. Yeah, he's a great player. He's the greatest player to play the game in this generation. But whenever he's playing, another team still has a chance to get to the finals. When Michael Jordan was playing,
It was him.
nobody. They had
What do
a,
y'all-
They had
what
a
do you
chance
mean?
to actually
Nobody-
get. They
nobody
had
had
a
a-
chance to get more
Right.
chances.
once they
It was
reach
probably the
Michael
coach
Jordan,
that messed it up.
you're gonna lose. Once you reach Michael Jordan's team, once you reach them,
It was over.
It was over.
That's the Pistons.
Hey man, I'm just don't shoot the messenger, all right?
I'm just saying, that's the Pistons.
But
The Pistons beat him like
statistically
8
speaking-
times.
But that's before he got Scotty.
The
Nobody
stats
can
do
do it by
say
themselves.
Yeah.
the stats do say, you know, LeBron is surpassing Michael
Well, he
Jordan.
came in the league at 19. What do you expect? It's- of
'Cause
course
he's
his
better.
stats gonna- What?
But I'm saying like, okay,
Of course his stats gonna be better.
And we have to see it as a body of work.
He played 3 more
All right.
seasons.
Yeah,
Four
the,
more
we have to keep it
the
as a
pinpoint
body
of the
of work.
argument is
The people in the argument is it's just plain simple.
No, yeah, the argument was who's greatest, not who has more points.
Exactly.
And
No,
Kobe's
bro.
better than
Whenever
Michael.
you find
Stop it.
somebody, what year
Stop
did Michael Jordan retire?
2003.
Oh,
04?
3 or 4, one of them.
We're in 2020, right? So that's
Yeah.
like 17 years.
Yeah. he's
Whenever you
old.
find somebody in a place where his name is still being talked about 17 years
Okay.
later,
That's-
it's very hard to not talk about him and not call him the
Average
greatest.
20.
Bottom line,
and
LeBron
40
is still
years
playing.
old.
Mm.
Yeah,
Come on,
average
bro.
20 and 40 years old.
Come on, bro. His name is still
Stop.
talked about 17. This man did something for basketball that many people could never do.
I'm just trying to
LeBron
figure out.
is a great player. What makes LeBron better than Michael Jordan is LeBron is great outside and inside the court. Michael Jordan don't really got a good personality outside the court, based on what media
Yeah.
proclaim.
yeah, true. he
Based
is
on how
great.
I ain't never talked to him personally, but how the media shows
He's
him,
the philanthropist.
he don't look like
LeBron.
But if we're talking about the game of basketball, we're not talking about personality or characteristics. We're talking about the game of basketball. Even if he had less points than LeBron ever would probably make, this man created a legacy. People wanted to be like him. People looked up to him. Kobe looked up to him. And people
LeBron
still
looked up to-
LeBron
everybody
looked
looked up to
This
who
man
he- AI.
created a
People
legacy
look up
for
to LeBron.
NBA.
It's
I know
just
that's
he's
cheap.
just
That's-
older.
But that's what I'm saying. There was nobody
We can
before
get back to
Jordan that anybody
the,
looked
we
up
can
to.
get back to the podcast. The last thing that I want to say is that
We can turn this into a sports.
I'm saying we
Well,
can get into
right.
the topic. 'Cause I got my facts.
I just want to end it with we have to.
Smith. You don't know what you're talking about.
Hold on.
I'm telling you, we talking about Jordan. To this day, people kill themselves for Jordan shoes. Come on now, who died over
Replicas of his shoes.
That's not good. That's not
Who's
good.
died over the?
Hey,
I'm saying that's how much of
All
an
I
influence
want
he
to,
had.
all I want to say, is, let me know when Michael Jordan comes back down 3-1 in the finals when he's going against the two greatest shooters of all
lost 3-1
time.
in the finals.
I'm not done
Listen.
speaking. The two greatest shooters of all time who just won 73 games, which is more than his Bulls won when he had Scottie Pippen and Dennis
Okay,
Rodman and all that.
that's fine.
And let me know
One less
when are we gonna start seeing the greatest player of all time as a body of work? So if we rated everything, okay, yes, Michael Jordan was a better scorer than LeBron. He was a better defender than LeBron. But talking about facilitating, LeBron's in a whole nother echelon than.
See,
Come on.
no, see, that's why I
I
have
have-
a problem with comparing. They're two different players.
Two different body types.
They're
Two
two different
different-
players. Like,
yeah.
LeBron, he's more. You should compare him to Magic.
But like he can do
Because
everything
He's more Magic.
plus passing.
That,
Like he
all I
does-
you
wanna
saying
say
that
is-
like Jordan can't pass.
All I
He
want to
didn't-
say
he
is
was-
average 6 assists.
He
That's
was-
not
okay,
that's-
six
that's-
ain't-
What?
6. I'm not saying that.
Anything more than 5 is good.
before I end
But
this
like
podcast,
LeBron,
what I
year
wanted to
17
say
is doing
was,
nothing, man.
all I
Yeah,
wanted to say
AD.
before I end this podcast is, the flu game.
Oh,
We are going to
James.
catch you guys next time on the next
Wait,
episode
one more.
of The Visions.
Watch the Lakers lose to the Clippers. We get
That's
that
not.
on that.
That
We're gonna
makes
catch
it
y'all
relevant.
next
Come on.
time, and we're gonna
Just say one
we're gonna continue.
thing.
Okay,
One more
okay,
thing.
hold on. Josh is the last person to say
It's
something.
the one that's one thing.
Okay.
I believe in our lives, we have to be honest with ourselves. And the reason why I say we have to be honest with ourselves is whenever we see somebody who did such a great deal of work for the game, it brings me back to Christianity. The disciples, they actually did more than Jesus ever did on earth. If you want to be honest, Jesus didn't start no church. The disciples that he sent out started churches. They started this what we would really call mega churches now. They really started it then. Nobody just want to admit it. It really was starting then. You don't feed 5,000 people and not have 5,000 people stay right there. They had mega churches then. The disciples took what Jesus did and they made it better. In essence, I think what Jesus gave the blueprint. I mean, the Bible even talks about how he is the foundation. He gave the foundation, he gave the blueprint, and then now we can now look and say, man, we're reading books that Apostle Paul wrote, and even what the words that Jesus actually wrote, it's there in the Bible, but we see books that these apostles wrote, Paul and Peter, 1 Peter, 2 Peter. You know, we don't see the book of Jesus. The word is, he is the word. But I'm saying the influence that he had led to these people now making, he told them, go make disciples. Go do more. Go ye out into the world.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
see
I'm
what
saying?
you're
Now, in
Ask
that
them to
same,
repeat
in that same way, when we're dealing with somebody who, yes, eventually, do I think there's gonna be somebody maybe 5 years from now, if not LeBron, that's gonna be surpass Michael Jordan? Yes. The reason why they will surpass Michael Jordan is because Michael Jordan created the blueprint for them to be able to take it and say, you know what, go make more champions.
Bro, I would never get more than that.
Go do more.
Oh, he's not
Bro,
gonna get
never
six.
Go do more with what I've given
So I have one question.
No, Josh is the
that
last
was
person.
No.
Josh is the last
That's
So
right.
was
person.
Michael Jordan the first person to win a championship? Oh, okay then.
Okay, so
I'm sorry.
Claw.
It's just, it is what it is.
Claw.
Because you know Jesus is a trailblazer.
hey,
Michael
y'all
Jordan ain't no
tune in
trailblazer.
next time for the next episode of the Visions podcast.